Chapter 5. Israel. Good afternoon, Chance. You want the regular table today? The woman who greeted them looked vaguely familiar, but Israel couldn't place how he knew her. He'd certainly never been in this restaurant before, though Chance appeared to be a regular from the friendly greeting. You bet, Holly. By the way, do you remember Israel? He was my best man at the wedding. Chance turned to Israel. Holly was Mary Beth's maid of honor. Yes, there had been more than one bridesmaid. Israel's focus that night, though, had been solely on Tiffany, so it didn't surprise him that he hadn't recognized the woman at first. Nice to see you again, and officially meet you, Holly. Israel smiled and stuck out his hand. Holly took it and returned the grin. You as well. Are you back for a visit, or... She let the words trail off, and Chance jumped in to fill them. No, Israel has officially moved here to Courage and is now the head of maintenance at Patriot Peak. Chance clapped a hand on Israel's shoulder and beamed with a sense of pride more akin to a father or a coach than a friend. Holly's brow lifted as she picked up 2 menus from the counter. Maintenance, huh? Does that mean you fix things? Yes, ma'am. Israel wondered where this was going. It was obvious from her tone that there was more than idle curiosity behind her question. Like dishwashers and things? She posed the question nonchalantly as she led them to a table, but there was definitely an agenda lurking behind her questions. Do you have a problem with your dishwasher here? Israel looked toward the kitchen. I'd be happy to take a look. Holly shook her head and set down the menus at the open table, gesturing for them to take their seats. Not here, at my house. My roommate was supposed to call someone to fix it, but she hasn't. And since I trust Chance wouldn't hire you unless you knew what you were doing, I'd like to offer the job to you. For payment, of course. I'd be happy to. In reality, he kind of felt like pinching himself. All of this seemed a little too good to be true. First the job at the resort, and now a side job as well. He hadn't been worried about much except finances when he decided not to re-enlist. But it appeared God was taking care of them too. He should have known. When you follow God's leading and take the right doors, He provides. Perfect. I'll give you the address before you leave, and you can come by whenever you have time. I'm not usually there in the evenings, but my roommate is. She's off by 6. Great. I'm done about that time at the resort as well, so I'll plan to stop by tonight and check it out. Holly flashed a smile that displayed both shock and gratitude. That would be amazing. Okay, holler at me when you know what you want. I'll be right back with drinks. As Holly walked away, Israel turned to Chance, who was grinning at him like the Cheshire Cat. What? You're unbelievable. You've been in town less than 2 weeks and already you get called in for a job on the side? He shook his head. Suddenly, Israel was confused. Was his friend upset he'd taken the job? It's okay, right? I didn't think it would go against any policy since it will be after work time. Relax, it's great. The more you get involved here and realize how great this place is, the less I have to worry about you packing up and moving somewhere else. Besides, Holly is awesome, and I know she'll do you right. Now, let's talk about Tiffany. Mary Beth told me she saw the 2 of you walk in together this morning. Israel dropped his eyes to the table as the heat crawled up his neck. Yeah, we did, but it's not what you think. She dropped some boxes, and I helped her carry them in. End of story. You didn't ask her out? Did you change your mind about her? Because I remember your eyes being glued to her the night of my wedding. Israel shook his head, wishing he could push the heat creeping up his face back down. No, I didn't change my mind. It just wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right time? Chance's eyebrow arched on his forehead. You were alone with her, right? Are you waiting for a personal invitation? I don't know. Israel bit the inside of his lip as he thought about why he'd hesitated asking her out. It just didn't feel like the time. She was late and focused on getting her day started. Chance let out a soft chuckle. Well, don't give up. I'm sure the right time will present itself, and I think you two could be great together. We'll see. Israel hoped his friend was right, but only time would tell if there was something more between himself and Tiffany than hope and a prayer.